Hi, welcome back to Sound Waves. And in this episode, Grammy-winning singer, songwriter, composer, and violinist LiLi Haydn will be joining us. She's releasing a new song on her latest album, Sayonara, which is very apropos for the current affairs. LiLi, how are you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
Welcome on the show. I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really grateful that you're here on the show. And you've been really busy lately. And so how are things going right now? And we'll go into all the stuff that you're doing.
It's an interesting, when people used to ask my mom, comedian Lotus Weinstock, how she was, she would say, I'm every way. And so I am carrying that mantle. So I'm every way. I'm, delighted to be releasing new music and also feeling the kind of cosmic stress that is in, as we enter the new year, the new administration, the post-COVID, hopefully, time, the Aquarian age, the end of hopefully we've dodged a bullet on literally in terms of fascism, uh, but we'll see. I think this weekend there's a lot of you know I think there's some violence planned this weekend. So hoping that this music adds to the collective love consciousness and
Mm.
and hopefully is a more powerful force than the destructive forces.
Are you worried about the next couple days coming up?
Yeah, I think you know we saw what happened last week. Uh, people are people are revved up and passionate, and I love passion, but this feels a little bit, I, you know, it's I so I appreciate passion, and yet this feels like it's been fueled by some misinformation, and uh, and um, and I don't know what else to say. I think it's really okay. I do know what to say. Here's the thing. Obviously, I think that people have been provoked by a megalomaniacal sociopath. Uh, but on the other hand, and I actually just saw this online. This was funny. So it's hard to, people on different sides of the political spectrum, it's hard to know, I mean, I feel strongly about my convictions. They feel strongly about their convictions. Who's right? Is there a moral equivalence? But a really good sort of point of reference is, are there Nazis on my side? If there are Nazis, I'm on the wrong side. I think it's pretty much safe to say that Nazis can be our guiding light. And, if somebody is wearing a Camp Auschwitz t shirt or 6 million wasn't enough t shirt, then I'm on the wrong side. I think that's a good point of reference to say, like what's happening. So I am a little bit scared about what's happening. And I think that, I think, but having said that, I also realize that I think it's really important to understand that the brain has different sections of the brain. The amygdala, the lizard brain, is stoked by fear, and when the amygdala is activated, it actually hijacks the energy from the rest of the brain, the empathetic part of the brain, the nuanced part of the brain, the kind of subtler thoughts. So while people are stoked up on fear and rage, coming at them with an equal and an equal kind of force is only going, and more fear is only going to compound the source of the behavior that we find challenging. The only thing that will actually heal this kind of behavior is love and understanding.
Hmm.
And that's why the album is called More Love.
was going to say, great transition.
It's not a transition. This is my musical path and my spiritual path and my political convictions are all inextricably linked. Truly, I think that as artists, we have, our job is to activate the parts of the brain that cause empathy and kindness and nuanced thinking, and can get somebody to say, with a rifle, to say, hey, you know what are we actually doing here? I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a petite woman. I'm 5 feet tall. I'm just over 5 feet tall. Somebody comes at me. Even if I had a rifle, I don't feel like I think I'm more able to defend myself with a song than I am a rifle, to be honest.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at your past, you were a poli-sci major at Brown, right?
Yeah.
So you could have went that way, but the way you have gone where you are now is so much more powerful with the pen, and the violin. You're using music as a way to amplify how you feel in your self-expression. Like you said, it is all one. It's every way, or as your mother used to say.
Yeah. And the other thing is that when you put out a song, that's supposed to be about peace, then it also forces you to be accountable. You can't very well be an asshole to the person that is, in front of you when you're singing about peace and love. Or you can, but then you become a joke. So,
Well,
this is a song that says enough is enough. War is. I don't care what you say you're fighting for. War is not the answer. And it sounds cliche or corny, but I'll just tell you the lyric. And who of us hasn't screamed, enough is enough already, right? I'm sure, I certainly over the last 4 years and well before that, I have said, so the lyric is enough is enough of the suffering, no more war. I don't care what you say you're fighting for. And I say, sayonara to the drama. I don't want to play that game. Sayonara to the dogma. Nobody was born to hate. All I want to do is love you. I'm laying down my arms today. Not another, not another, not another in my name.
That's deep.
So that's where the peace sign comes from, and it's what I realize is that when we fight over a good cause, all we're doing is perpetuating the domination paradigm that perpetuates the oppression and separateness that we say that we're fighting against.
Yeah. I was referring to the time when we ran into each other on the street in Sunset Boulevard. I don't know how many years ago, but we did we looked at the sun and did that head prayer. Do you do that at the same time every day, or is it lockstep for you, or no?
No, nothing is the same every day. Every day is different for me. I have no, I can never plan anything because everything is fluid. It sounds so flaky, but it's true. No, it's just I try to carve out at least 10 extra minutes at the top of the day, where I get to sort of have the touchstone of my purpose, which is to see through the eyes of love, to see through the eyes of compassion, to be an expression of the big love, and to share and to make magic with music or healing or whatever it is, to be enchanted and to stay there, because the trip to hell is just right around the corner. You can go there anytime you want. So I think it's important to kind of anchor yourself at the top of the day, because otherwise, for me, it's easy to get untethered.
Agreed. Yeah, it's funny. In my day to day with COVID, another thing that COVID has offered is I would start to feel guilty that I don't have some structure. But in the beginning of the day, I like my Palo Santo and I do prayer work before I even get out of bed. Like I'm
Good.
before I even start moving, like I ease in, and with gratitude and acceptance is like my, but enough about me. This is about you. So let me ask you, what was the impetus to start Sayonara? What created that inspiration?
The lyrics write themselves when you're kind of when you really let yourself feel what's happening in the world.
Hmm.
Just people say things and it becomes music. I mean, truthfully, if you break it down, everything vibrates at a certain frequency. Atoms
Yeah.
vibrate at a certain frequency, and if you zoom in, if you actually record it, you can zoom in and you see a frequency, and it's the same thing as when you zoom into a Pro Tools, a music waveform. So everything is music in a way, and when you're a musical animal, the way we are, it gets filtered through that perception. Uh-huh. Sayonara uh, was literally just finished last month.
Wow. Okay. So current
Then I
event was,
got the
yeah,
and then I got the inspired idea that it has to come out before the inauguration.
absolutely. And again, here, did you get COVID and you're a COVID survivor?
I am a COVID survivor. It was not a terrible
Wow.
case, thank God. But I did have a couple nights where I couldn't really breathe, and I did have a taste of what people are going through. I mean, it was a small dose of it, but I had I felt like somebody was pressing on my ribs and like wouldn't let me breathe,
Whoa.
and it was scary. I thought I might have to go to the emergency room. And there's a song called "More Love" on the album, and that's the title song. And
Yeah.
the lyric for that is "Broken boy, broken girl, broken hearts for a broken world. Take me as I am tonight, grateful just to be alive." And uh, mind you, the song was co-written with a wonderful singer-songwriter with whom I've collaborated many times, Marvin Etzioni. But it was written a couple of years ago, but it became real and important once I survived the COVID.
Has that changed you in any way? Like when you pass through something like that?
I've survived a few life and death situations, so
You have.
so it's not the first time, but and also I guess the most profound sort of wake up call was losing my mom, who died of a brain tumor at 54.
Whoa.
And I was with her, and she was my other half and my best friend. So, I realized how fragile life is, and uh, so nothing's ever felt as serious as that for me personally. Uh,
That
but
was the big one.
but I did get, okay, this could, God forbid, but this could happen, and it makes you really be present. Honestly, that's the lesson from everything, is how to be more in the moment.
Hmm. Yeah. Wow. And then ultimately the love, more love.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want more love? I love that
Kidding?
story. Thank you for
Mas-
sharing that.
Masochists.
Masochists
Yeah, I
don't
get.
want more love.
I don't.
They want more hate and division. Keep
But
going back to
in
that.
a way, and you know what? I was making a joke, but the truth is that is actually a perfect metaphor for the fact that it's all a gift. It's all God. Even the devil is just God in disguise. And by God, I mean the force that created life, whatever that is, whatever you believe in.
Hmm. You need them both. It's like a yin and yang. You can't have a north without a south or a positive without negative. There's a balance. If you can spiritually surf right through the center of that, then you're in the now.
And that's where you reconcile paradox. And paradox and that's what the yin and yang symbol is. It's one symbol that represents the unifying of the paradox, the illusion of paradox.
There's a release coming out. Um,
Very
And
soon. I can't say anything about it except that it's a wonderful film called Strip Down, Rise Up. And it's about feminine women reclaiming their femininity, their sexuality, their bodies, their sensuality through sensual dance and specifically pole dancing, healing trauma through movement.
it's
And
phenomenal.
it's like the next step in the Me Too movement. It's really powerful. It's coming soon. Be on the lookout for it. It's called Strip Down, Rise Up. And I scored that, wrote a bunch of songs for it as well. A couple of those songs are on this forthcoming record. And that should be fun.
That's super cool. I'm glad that you did that. This interview is about you and your music, and I'm promoting you and your music. I do want to say though that I did some work. God, it must have been 10 years ago with the pole dancer community in Los Angeles, and we used to have these shows at the King in Hollywood. And there's some of the most empowered women, and it would piss me off whenever I would say pole dancer to somebody, and they thought stripper,
Right, right.
and maybe some of them had, but it was right before the Pole Dancer Federation came out. There was in fact, I just got an email before yours from Pole Magazine, and these women and they would all go to each other's shows, and they're just the most empowered women I've ever been around, and it was just so phenomenal to see that kind of support. I'm waiting for the day that pole dancing's in the Olympics, because I mean, if figure skating can be,
Yeah.
you want to get in shape, do some pole dancing, man,
You got to watch the
incredible.
movie. You'll love it. It's really great. There's some amazing movement in there, and it's really sexy. It's simultaneously like about feminine empowerment and also super sexy and sensual and seductive. But they're not at odds with each other. It really feels like the evolution of sensuality.
And they're using that, as a way to overcome
Trauma.
personal trials. Yeah, trauma and challenges. I mean, what were some of the ones that struck you in particular when you were working on that?
What were some of the what?
Well, when you're working on the music for it, I mean, of course, you're adding the emotional element, the emotional layer to the film.
Yeah.
Were there any scenes that you or a person that brought up a subject that resonated with you, like it just it jumped out at you, or was there an interview of a dancer that started to share her story, and you're like, you resonated with that at all?
Oh, well, I think kind of related to the whole experience. I mean, we're all, it's everything from, self consciousness about your body to not being able to relate to your body because you've been violated, to feeling anger that needs to be expressed. And movement is a really healthy way of expressing it where nobody gets hurt, hopefully. Um, and so I related to all of that, and uh, it's probably, I mean, the statistics have been said, but I'll just reiterate. The UN did just did a study that discovered that one out of every three women in the world has been or will be sexually violated or abused. And so that's one out of every three around the world.
Wow.
That means that pretty much everybody you meet is touched by this on some level.
Or
And
every third person,
so so I did relate to it. I'm a survivor myself. Not I was thankfully not actually raped, but there's. But here's the thing, and this is really important to me. Um, Anita Hill, because I scored this documentary about Anita. Anita Hill says that sexual harassment is not about sex; it's about power. And when you think of it that way,
Yeah.
then you see the parallel between sexual harassment and the Me Too movement with the movement to end racism, because that's just about power as well. And then you see the parallel between that and perpetual war, which is also about power, domination of one over another. And then you see the parallel between that and the environmental movement, which is us asserting our dominance over animals and ecosystems and the planet, asserting that we know better than a system of life that existed.
Hmm.
We're just a blip in the
Yeah.
evolutionary scheme. And then you see a parallel between that and what else? Economic uh, disparity. Insecurity,
Yeah.
poverty, system of poverty. That's there's any the which is why I say sayonara to the domination, because the domination paradigm only perpetuates itself. The only thing we can do as we evolve out of the combustion engine and fossil fuels and the burning and the domination principle that feeds our planet right now, we we start to integrate renewable energy, and we start to learn how to harness the energy of the sun and wind, and we have this technology. And it's no to me it's not it's perfectly poetic, and it's perfect timing that we're moving into that we are running out of fossil fuels, and we have to then move into uh, renewable energy at the same time that we have to learn how to uh, include each other and overcome racism and stop dominating each other and stop fighting each other. We have to learn how
Yeah.
to have compassion for each other and include each other. And as we include the sun and the wind and the animals and we have to stop eating meat, at least so much. We have to stop being cruel, because we're not going to survive if we continue this way. And so it becomes, as we evolve, we will evolve out of the domination paradigm. And it's just about evolving, waking up. And I do believe that this has been a wake up call. Really.
You're bringing your mom up a lot. When was it that she passed away?
She passed away in '97. So
Oh, okay.
it's long enough ago for me to not be quoting her every other sentence. But she was my best friend, and she was
Yeah.
my teacher and great, my biggest inspiration. So what can I say?
I get that. In some of what I've been looking up, it seems like you've been empowered quite a bit, by her, and you're strong. You're a strong woman, and you're going after what you want to go after, and that's awesome that she's given you um, that type of upbringing that allowed you to have the power to go forth, with your sword, so to speak, with the violin, and you're strong about your word. You're strong about what you believe in, and I can see that she was a really big part of your conviction, in your life moving forward, and now or wherever it was. That's phenomenal. Not everybody has that, and she sounds like a phenomenal woman. And you're a phenomenal woman, and
Thank you so much.
yeah, that's a gift and a
And
blessing.
so are you, David.
I beg your pardon.
And so are you.
I'm a strong woman as well. I'm kidding. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice to hear that coming from you, because it means a lot right now. I wanted to see, you were working on this pole dancer film. Have you tried the pole? Did any of the dancers give you a lesson?
This was all done during COVID, so was not able to. In fact, I worked right through COVID. In fact, I worked through my own COVID. So
Oh my God.
I didn't have time to stop. I scored this documentary called Strip Down, Rise Up, which is about the pole dancing. A documentary about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, another one.
Yes.
It's really special, beautiful film. and it's called Ruth Justice Ginsburg in Her Own Words. And I scored my first Netflix TV series with my friend Ben Bromfield, and we did. It's called Ginny and Georgia, and that's coming soon as well.
Nice. You've been. I had. What did that look like? How did you? What did it look like for you to be working while you had COVID?
Just when that's the thing. Music is like being possessed in a way. You don't really know how bad it is until you stop playing.
Huh.
And you just it's inspiration and passion and a deadline have uh, have a remarkable way of of powering you through when you're running on fumes.
I can't imagine you not powering through. I mean, whatever comes your way, you power through it. I saw you on a TED Talk where you had a head injury, or it was something with the house that was fumes or something.
Yeah.
I can relate to that. I've got a couple stories with head injuries, and yeah, yeah, just I can't imagine. I can't imagine you not powering through anything. Is there anything that you didn't power through that we need to know about?
Well, I think, to me, honestly, when I hear you say that, the thing that comes up for me is actually less about like the it really, what it does is it actually um, makes me grapple with the notion of power. What
Oh,
is
back, yeah.
real power? Because uh, I think, you know we sometimes, powering through, we, like a bulldozer, we can just get through the obstacles. There's a place for that, uh, and yet that also is endemic of the domination paradigm that I've really been meditating on. So what I realize, and we see people who are loving getting taken advantage of and getting
Mm,
abused and, getting the short end of the stick in a way. Um, but ultimately, and this is going to sound corny, and I don't, but this is what I've been meditating on, is that 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 it's just an illusion, that that barreling through, powering through, is kind of an illusion, and actually, the only true power is the creative power, is and creation is about love. The only real power is love, and I don't mean that like you that the rule of law isn't important, because obviously it is, and we are living through 4 years where the rule of law meant nothing. But in fact, what we've been witnessing is the illusion of power without
mm,
love, and the that illusion of power is not long for this world. It's
mm.
it's we can't survive like that. That's mutually assured destruction. So when you ask me if I'm powering through stuff, what I'm trying to do is actually find the power and softness and creativity in a way that is, power born of passion and inspiration, rather than power born of domination and a need to achieve.
Hmm.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean,
I still want to achieve. It's not that I don't, but I don't want to. I think that power can be sort of synonymous with people like bulldozing something, and you can't bulldoze past obstacles without also sometimes bulldozing people. And I know I've done that. I've probably even done that to you, and for that, I'm sorry. Uh,
why
I
would you say that?
I just I know that I can. I've gotten I have I don't mean specifically you necessarily. I mean that I've bulldozed my softer side of myself. I've dominated myself, um, and it hasn't always been the most pleasant experience. um, I guess what I mean is, and this, I don't mean to, uh, I don't mean this in any kind of like what is this marketing way, but I mean that's what I'm singing about when I sing. I'm laying down my so that the chorus of Sayonara
Yeah.
is Sayonara to the drama. I don't want to play that game. Sayonara to the dogma. Nobody was born to hate. All I want to do is love you. I'm laying down my arms today. Not another in my name. And I realized that I have been, uh, I've annihilated people in my strength, in my illusion of strength, and I don't want to destroy. I only want to love. I want to create, and that's why I'm committing, and with this music, with my daily prayers to seeing through the eyes of love and being an expression of that.
Hmm. It sounds like the album is almost like it's a making of an amends, and maybe even to yourself. There's your softer side where you're laying down, and if I've in any way caused you, harm, or
Yeah.
then you're apologizing. Almost like this album is almost like an apology, and it's peace. In addition to something that we all need to follow,
Yeah.
a peaceful world for the future.
I hadn't really thought about it as an apology, but
Just what you were, the way you were
but
expressing that, it was almost
yeah,
sounding like it.
but I agree. That's yeah. There, I have definitely for all the times I've annihilated
Hmm.
another person's feelings or idea. Uh, I am sorry, and I do apologize, and I am laying down my arms, and it is really important to me to I'm holding myself accountable now, and I think that that's really the first step toward making peace uh,
Hmm.
in the world. It's not to say that it shouldn't also have its public policy counterpart, uh, but I'm not one who says I'm going to turn off the news because peace begins with me. I think the microcosm and the macrocosm exist for a reason.
LiLi, thank you so much for being on the show, and I'm really grateful that you spent your time here with me. And
My
just
pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
looking forward to the new release. And everybody should pick up Sayonara. And with that, Sayonara.
Sayonara.
Say